Friday on FS1.
I love that read. I was listening to a couple of our other commentators read that. They didn't have the same type of professional pop with it.
But you know who does?
Yeah, Jenny Taft. Undisputed coming up at 9:30. Jenny, talk to us about the show, the rundown. What are you guys talking about today?
Good morning, Jenna. I'm going to have such a good read on that later today. You guys just wait for it. Coming up on Undisputed. Was it a good move for Kyrie to call LeBron for advice? And Andy Reid says Tom Brady is as good as ever. Is he right? Plus, Super Bowl champ Plaxico Burress in studio with us. Undisputed coming up next. Jenna, back to you and the guys.
All right, Jenny, thanks. Time for us to go viral here on First Things First. Last night, Klay Thompson dropped 19 points, including 4 triples to help lead the Warriors to a win. Maybe it was Klay's pregame ritual that helped get him in the right frame of mind. Check him out reading the newspaper before the game. Not bad.
That just so everyone knows, that's every game. Not on his phone, a print edition of the newspaper, every game, wherever he's at. That's part of his thing. It's part of his pregame ritual.
Pregame rituals fascinate me. Did you have any pregame rituals, either you or anyone on your team, that stood out to you that you saw?
I mean, I had certain things I like to do. I'm not superstitious. I do like to eat a nice stack of pancakes, a little bit of oatmeal, some coffee before the game. That was my best night. No matter what time we played, that was the best meal. So that was
the pregame ritual in Minnesota days.
Yeah.
A little different with the Eagles?
Oh, and the Eagles? Oh, yeah. I could have a sausage and cheese and everything, run out there, run all day. Could have been just now getting in.
Pregame ritual could have been the security guard knocking on his window.
Yeah. When the folks are getting Philadelphia. I used to check out the team hotel on Saturday night and hit the streets. Head on back to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Have me one before I went to bed.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why
every decision you've made.
Yeah, that's how I ended up in the paper.
The one that Klay's reading.
Jeez.
Back to the Patriots now, taking on the Chiefs. Pats will be playoff underdogs for the first time since the 2013 AFC Championship game. Julian Edelman is capping on that, certainly embracing the underdog role, tweeting out a hype video with the hashtag #BetAgainstUs. Here's what Brady had to say on not being favored on Sunday.
Doesn't change much for us, but it just, shows you kind of what, people would think about, what our chances are. That's about it.
Doesn't
no more added comment to that.
By the way, Nick was in part of that hype video, so we feel like it all
was a bizarre hype video too, because it was Chiefs highlights. It was all Chiefs highlights, and it was commentators not talking trash on the Patriots, just saying good things about the Chiefs. My voice is on there saying Patrick Mahomes, best player in the sport, and then it's a steely Bill Belichick, a steely Tom Brady, a steely Julian Edelman. One of these things is not like the other. And then it says bet against us. And then it has a link to Edelman's website where you can buy all this bet against us merchandise. And I did a dive on this last night. See, there's a Julian Edelman licensed skateboard.
Every year they're getting your voice on there. I like that.
I know. That's fine. But I didn't know Julian Edelman had this mini empire. I can get a Julian Edelman onesie for my baby.
Well, everything. I mean, Edelman's not a big guy. Everything is
sure. Did you know Julian Edelman has written not one, but 2 children's books and a memoir? He's a 3-time author. There's a lot about Julian Edelman I didn't know about. But yeah, so I bet against us because they're underdogs. Sorry, Jen. I hijacked that a bit.
No, go ahead, Seek. Jump in.
I think that it's one of the constant themes that we've had in sports for a long, long time. It's fresh on our mind, the Philadelphia Eagles. They went full in, fans, everything, dog masks, because it's hard. And growing up in the era with Michael Jordan and watching Michael Jordan, like Klay, would read the newspaper, and if anything wrote anything negative, he would clip out the article and put it in his locker. He talked about it in his Hall of Fame speech, how these things motivated him. And in sports and in competitive things, you need something that is outside yourself to help motivate you. Tom Brady has used that. His draft, his combine photos, him running the 40-yard dash. He has always used that. Belichick has always used what happened in Cleveland, as that underdog mentality. So Edelman, a college quarterback at Kent State, he wasn't offered a whole bunch of D1 offers. No one in the NFL was trying to make him into a wide receiver like the Pats did. So he's going to have an underdog mentality for the rest of his life. So I understand why they're doing this. But The reason why they're the underdog is how they've played on the road. They are absent of a lot of talent on the offensive end, which they haven't been the last couple years. That's why on the road in Kansas City, they're the underdog.
And I understand you got to grasp different motivations from different things. And when you've been to 8 straight conference championship games, this is the biggest game the Kansas City Chiefs have played as a franchise in 50 years. Wow. This is the biggest game the Patriots have played in 11 and a half months. So I understand why you're trying to grasp things, but just for some reality here, there is a difference between no longer being the overwhelming favorite and being a true nobody believes in us underdog. The New England Patriots, headed into this weekend, have been favored in 67 consecutive games that Tom Brady has started. They have been favored in every playoff game in the last 11 years except for one, 23 of 24, headed into this weekend. And I understand, I was one of the people. There was, I don't know, I'd say 30% of the media last week picked the Chargers to pull off the upset. That doesn't make you a nobody believes in us team. And being a 3-point underdog on the road, when in the NFC Championship game, the road team is a 3.5-point underdog.
I know the Rams must be furious.
The Rams got to think, man, why even show up? And so it's a little, I remember Team USA around a decade ago, men's basketball played the nobody believes in us card. And I thought that was the most ridiculous version.
Until this.
But this dynastic Patriots saying nobody believes in us, that's kind of crazy.
This is such a great organization, though, and they've been so successful. They are the winningest team franchise this decade and last decade, so 2 decades now. In your opinion, CeCe, what's been the most impressive part of this 2-decade-long run now?
I got to go to the head coach and his ability to adapt and to change. We have conversations about, man, in sports, these millennials, they're totally different than the last generation of athletes. All that's being true. But Bill Belichick has shown that he can coach almost anyone to be able to get them to play at their absolute best inside of his system. How many times have you seen a player leave the Patriots and actually get better? Their best years typically are with the New England Patriots, and this is through salary cap. This is through free agency. 60% of NFL rosters are changing every year, and he has still thrived and been one of the best in a league that now is dominated by offenses. This is a great defensive genius. He has adapted his coaching style, how he's going to attack the quarterback, how he's going to defend the red zone. All these are totally different than he did in the 80s and in the 90s. So for me, over 20 years, Bill Belichick is the most impressive thing, in him adapting his football IQ and adapting to how he's going to coach his team through those decades. To me, is the most impressive part, Jenna.
To me, the most impressive part is this third act that no one could have seen coming. Nobody. I want to remind people where we were. The first act was those 3 championships in 4 years. The second act was a longer one, and it wasn't going great by Patriot standards. From that third championship until 2014, they went to 2 Super Bowls as an overwhelming favorite, lost them both. They got bounced by Peyton Manning a couple times. 2013, the last time they were the underdogs in the playoffs, they lost decidedly in the AFC Championship game by 26-16.
Those 2 Super Bowls and that playoff game, I picked the Patriots. So does Edelman have does he have my video of me picking them? Do I get credit for that?
And so that's the second act. And then the beginning of the third act looked like it was going to be more of the second act. They're losing in the Super Bowl to this Seattle Seahawks, 24-14, headed into the fourth quarter. And from that moment forward, this third act is the most impressive thing of the whole era. They win that fourth quarter 14-0 to get Super Bowl number 4. The next year, they lose the AFC Championship game on a failed 2-point conversion. The next year, they score 31 straight points in the Super Bowl to get Super Bowl number 5. The next year, they get back to the Super Bowl, have the ball down 5 with a chance to get Super Bowl number 6 before Brandon Graham has the strip sack. And the next year is right now. Like, they are 2 wins away from having the last 5 years be more impressive than the first 5 years. And the first 5 years were as good of a run as any team had had in NFL history. Nobody could have seen this final act coming.
What's the moral of the story? That we got 5 more years left with this organization, with all the pieces in place. We're going to look back and say, and then there was that time in 2019.
If there's a fourth act, if there's a fourth act, I will be astonished in a way. Nothing will have ever surprised me more in sports, because a fourth act would involve Tom Brady literally playing till he's 45 years old.
Yeah. Enjoy what we're seeing.
Yeah.
We're on the downward part of it. Now, when does it end? 19, 20, but it's going to end soon.
Maybe about 10 p.m. Eastern Sunday night.
All right.
I'm just listening. Julian Edelman told me to bet against them.
I'm going to bring my kids over
Julian,
on Sunday.
I didn't ask if you could use my voice to sell your merchandise.
We'll watch the game together, because I'm sure you'll be very calm.
No. I'm watching that game by myself.
That's it for us. We're back here tomorrow morning for picks. We're going to be right here on